Let's give you a tip for every single stage of the best attack strategy in Clash of Clans right now, the Zap LavaLoon, including a bonus tip at the end of the video. Welcome back to the channel then, guys. I'm your host, Judo Sloth. Let's get right into this one, the Zap LavaLoon. I thought to myself, how can I teach you guys this strategy in as simple a form as possible? We have an expert here at Crunchtime of the LavaLoon strategy, so I reached out to him and I asked, what is the one tip you would give for the lightning spell portion? What is the one tip you would give for the hero portion, for the LavaLoon portion, for the spell placement? And that's what we're covering in this video. I like to bring educational but entertaining Clash of Clans videos, so if that's what you want to see, I'd recommend subscribing and turning on the notification bell. Now, you can also support me in-game by going into your settings and using code Judo before making any purchases. It is much appreciated, my friends. But let's get into that one single best tip for the lightning spells. So we have two attacks very kindly broken down by Kevin. We will be getting to the hero dive, the LavaLoon portion, and the other spell deployment. But what did Kevin have to say for his tip on the lightning spells, the opening phase? What he said was always try and take the clan castle if you can. Now, the reason for that is when you destroy the clan castle, the troops that would normally defend your enemy's base will not come out because you've destroyed it. It also means you don't have to take a poison spell, which you normally would if you were fighting the clan castle troops. So on taking the clan castle, what he said was try and look for value around the clan castle. So in this instance, when the 7 lightnings come in, we don't put them directly on top of the clan castle. We're actually able to take out the enemy queen, the scattershot, and 2 sweepers. Then what you do is use the earthquake in a slightly different area to finish off the clan castle and make sure you can do damage to additional defenses. Whilst the bases can change, the main defenses, the best value to get alongside that clan castle are the Eagle Artillery and the enemy Archer Queen. You also could look at Scattershot and Air Sweepers as a step down from that, and also finally Expos and Inferno Towers. It really just depends what is around that clan castle. Now in this instance, there is the Eagle Artillery and there is the Archer Queen, so the perfect base for the Zap LavaLoon in the opinion of Kevin, who is able to break down this incredibly well. But like we said, it depends on what value you can get. A lot of the old meta base designs, that just means they haven't been adjusted to this strategy. A lot of them do have the clan castle, the eagle, and the queen, so if you do see that, it's something that you should be considering with this. Now, it's also important to note that the clan castle and the Eagle Artillery are the 2 defenses that you have to use 7 lightning spells and the earthquake to then finish off. Make sure you're using the earthquake slightly in a different area, but just know that if you're not taking the Eagle Artillery alongside the clan castle, it might be that you can use 5 lightning spells on one area of the clan castle to maybe take out a scattershot with a sweeper. Then you could put the other 2 that you require for the clan castle to the other side of the clan castle to maybe take out a sweeper on the other side, or at least do damage to a different defense. So if you are just taking the clan castle and it's not the eagle, it might be you can vary where you use the lightning to get additional damage on the defenses around it. Back to the first attack for the hero dive method. This is often termed the Sui hero strategy. That just means sending your heroes in, they get value, but then they get taken out. You don't mind, you just want them to get that initial value. But where should you send them? You want to try and take down the town hall. That is, if you have been able to take down the enemy Archer Queen with the lightning spells. If you have not taken down the Archer Queen, then you should try and use the Sui hero to take her out. But if you can take down the town hall, what it means is your Grand Warden's ability can be used over the LavaLoon portion. Now, as a secondary objective, you also want to look at where the Royal Champion is, the defending Royal Champion. Try and get value around her, potentially taking her out, because again, if you can take down the enemy Archer Queen or the enemy Royal Champion as part of the initial push, it means they are not defending the base as your balloons are trying to come through. Now, that's all well and good, but what happens if you cannot take down the Town Hall, the Queen, and the Royal Champion with your hero dive? Now, unfortunately, in the 2 attacks by Kevin, he perfectly identified the base and he was able to take them down. And that's obviously been your tips. For the lightning spells, try and take the Clan Castle, Queen, Eagle. For the hero dive, take the Town Hall and the Royal Champion. But let's give you a scenario where you cannot do that, just so you know what you would do. So, let's say you've taken out the Queen with the lightning, you're now getting the Town Hall, but you miss the Royal Champion. What some people will do is send in dragons within their Stone Slammer, so as they are doing the LavaLoon portion, the dragons inside the Stone Slammer will be able to pop out of there and take down the Royal Champion. However, take a look at this attack. The objectives from the first phases of the attack that we've discussed in terms of the lightning and the hero dive have all been met. The bottom of the base entirely taken out, and now we can just easily swoop around the top of the base with the LavaLoon. So let's give you your tip for that phase. We now move on to the LavaLoon phase, and personally, I think this is the hardest bit, so it will take a little bit of practice. But your tip is to send in 2 Lava Hounds to the first air defense, but send them in from different angles. This means you can tank more defenses and also set off more traps. It also depends on how many defenses are around that air defense. There's a lot in this one, so a 3rd Lava Hound is actually sent. But if there's not as many defenses, you can send the 3rd Lava Hound to the 2nd air defense with some trailing balloons, because what that will do is cut off the defenses on that side to keep your main pack moving through. It means you've got good coverage with the Lava Hound over to that side of the base as well, but it keeps your balloons merging together through the middle. Like I said, that will take you a lot of practice, but where should you send the LavaLoon in? Well, if you have not taken down the sweepers, that's something to take into account, but you should always try and send the Lalo into the most splash damage first. So in this case, we have a scatter shot, 2 wizard towers, and even a 3rd wizard tower relatively soon on in the push. So what it means is you can take down the splash damage early on, so you don't have to worry about that on the back end of the base. It also means you can use the Grand Warden's ability through the splash damage early in order to protect your balloons. We've talked about the placement of the troops and where to put them in, but what about the spells alongside it? Now, with the spells, it is important to remember that you've already used 8 spells, 7 lightnings and an earthquake. So you have 3 of your own left and 2 in the Clan Castle, so 5 spells. Take 3 haste and 2 freeze, and basically you are using them for the splash damages. Freeze the splash damages, make sure you're hasting to them. You don't have to worry too much about point defense, but make sure you are freezing as much splash as possible. Wizard towers, eagle artillery. Also make sure you're freezing stuff alongside that, so as we approach the back end wizard tower here, we don't just freeze the wizard tower, we freeze the air defense alongside it and haste the balloons to it. So it's all about the splash damages. I can't stress that enough. With the balloons, that is what they are vulnerable to. And we promised you a bonus tip at the end of the episode. So you have had 5 tips in total, or 5 focus tips. I have gone off course a little bit, but I wanted to keep the video relatively simplified in terms of a tip for every part of the Zap LavaLoon. I also want to just let you know, I often get questions in terms of Town Hall 12, Town Hall 11. I've kept it very broad here. I know we talked about the Royal Champion, let's say, and things like that, but a lot of the principles are the same. The Clan Castle, the Lightning, the Archer Queen, splash damages, just adjust it to your Town Hall level. Obviously, if you are a Town Hall 9 through 11, you don't have to worry about the Giga Bomb, so the Town Hall is not one of them major things of the hero dive you need to take, so do just adjust it to your Town Hall level. I've kept the tips relatively broad, but the bonus tip that we were given by Expert Kevin of the LavaLoon, I've seen him crushing with the Queen Charge LavaLoon for a long time, so I really wanted his thoughts on this, and I hope it has helped you out. But what he said is, he sees a lot of people planning out specifically the LavaLoon X amount of balloons per defense and trying to be very robust with the plan. Have a broad plan as to how many balloons you're putting in, but don't focus too much on it. You need to be able to adjust on the fly and get a feel for the strategy. So this is a real advanced level tip, to be honest, guys, but I think it's very, very important. Make sure that you are getting a feel for the strategy, and what he did say is it will not work out the first few times. But if you overplan, you become too rigid in how many balloons you need in a set area, you won't be able to adjust as well. You won't get a feel for the strategy. So try and roughly plan, and then as you are deploying your troops, you will just instinctively be able to learn if you need a few more reinforcements, or if you can save them balloons for a little bit more later on in the raid to distract a wizard tower or clean up. It just allows you to be more flexible, and you will become more of an expert by not super planning out the attack. So I hope that one's been helpful for you. I did a video specifically on the lightning spell phase of this attack as well, so you might want to check that one out. I've linked it right here alongside the subscribe button, but we will catch you in the next video, guys. Until then, peace out.